All right, I think we good. I don't know what the hell happened, but I think we good now. Are we straight? All right, I think. Am I live? Okay, that sounds good. That sounds great. Okay, I think we're good. My apologies. Please let me know if I'm coming through clear on y'all end. I don't know. I looked back at my stream and I seen that it was like messing up a little bit. And it was telling me that my resolution was incorrect for the stream. So I think we good now. My last stream was working? What? Wow, I didn't know it was working. I don't know. On my end, this shit looked horrible. It was like glitching everywhere and everything was wild. But we live. Let's get this thing started. NBA playoffs is here, 2021. I'm here to give my freaking first round predictions on who I think will win each series. Now, I don't want to give my final predictions. Y'all gonna have to wait for those, all right? I mean, you can kind of guess, but I'm gonna be as unbiased as possible when I'm picking these teams. Okay? Okay. All right, so NBA playoffs. It's your boy J-Main, of course, back checking in with the people, back with another video. And I want to give a little background real quick for anybody who doesn't know, or if you come to this video and you might not know me, you just found me, and you want to know a little bit of history of me as a basketball NBA fan. Real quick, I ain't going to make this too long because I know y'all want to hear my predictions for the playoffs if you're watching this video. Now, NBA playoffs. NBA history. As a kid, I was a big Michael Jordan fan. Growing up, I remember watching the Knicks play the Bulls because I lived, of course, in New York City, so you only watch the Knicks games locally. And I remember Michael Jordan just busting ass, like anytime he played the Knicks. And therefore, I became a Michael Jordan fan just because he was great to watch on the TV screen. Now, my dad, my brothers, they was huge Knicks fans. Huge Knicks fans. So they hated the fact that I would root for anything other than the New York Knicks. It got so bad at one point that as a kid, I wasn't born with the middle name. So me not having a middle name, I don't know why I don't have a middle name. I was the only sibling out of 8 without a middle name. I probably should be mad about that, but a lot of times people don't even like their middle name. So I didn't really care. But I remember one birthday, my mom asked me, she was like, what do you, for your birthday, what do you want your middle name to be? Because I, as a kid, I used to be like, oh, I want a middle name. Everybody else got a middle name. I don't got a middle name. And I was like, for my birthday, I want my middle name to be Jordan, after Michael Jordan. So she was like, all right. So from that day forward, my middle name was Jordan. Not legally, of course, but my middle name was Jordan. I know my dad probably hated that, but it is what it is. Jordan was my guy. So fast forward to the early 2000s, and I'm still an NBA fan, but I'm not following it like every day, looking at the standings, checking out the stats, who's the best player in the league type stuff. I was more of a casual watcher, seeing who was playing. My brother was a big Allen Iverson fan. And so, I would watch some Philadelphia 76ers game with him, some Knicks games. Lakers was big at that time. Sacramento Kings versus the Lakers was a huge series for me growing up that I absolutely loved. But as a kid, when I wanted to actually start to follow the NBA, I was like, who are the two best teams in the league at the time? And at the time, it was the Sacramento Kings in the West, and it was the New Jersey Nets in the East. And so I'm like, the Nets are an East Coast team. I did a little bit of research. I'm like, they used to play in New York. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of ties to New York right there. They used to play in New York. I'm like, I'm gonna be a New Jersey Nets fan. And from that day forward, this is how I've been stuck with the New Jersey Nets, just because they were pretty much one of the best teams in the league, East Coast, and had some New York roots. I didn't have no idea that they were coming to Brooklyn at that time. We're talking early 2000s, back when they got swept by the Lakers in the finals, a gentleman's sweep against the San Antonio Spurs the following year. And so it was all bad, but I stuck with it. Jason Kidd became one of my favorite players. Just loved the way he played the game. Looking to make other players around him better. And point guard, he didn't really have a jump shot, but he always, he worked on it. And he got better over time. So triple doubles here and there, good defense and stuff like that. So I became a Nets fan, and here we are today. All right, cool. So that's pretty much my history. as far as becoming a Nets fan and where I stand in the NBA. And therefore, we can move forward. But I want to give a shout out to a couple people in the chat. We got Liam in the chat. What's good, bro? Chrono Clicker, what's good? Appreciate you for pulling up. Glizzy King, rest in peace, Shawn Michaels. Oh man, Shawn Michaels passed away. I have to look into that a little bit later. But that's definitely terrible to hear if that's true. Rest in peace, HBK. Future, what's good? Nev in the chat, he said J-Main's dad was definitely looking at him like Omni-Man. That's a fact. Griffin in the building, GG to Steph. Imagine if they had Clay. Man, when Clay comes back next year, it's on and popping. It's on and popping for the Warriors. But without further ado, we're going to get into our niggas trolling. Why do people keep trolling me in the chat? The last time I was streaming, people said rest in peace, Drake. Now it's Shawn Michaels. I don't even know if Shawn Michaels is alive. Is Shawn Michaels even alive? I don't even follow dude no more. Yeah, Shawn Michaels still alive. All right, so we're going to get into this this NBA playoffs prediction. If anybody is interested in hopping in the Discord and engaging in some conversation that way, I'm going to drop my Discord name in the chat right now. You can add me as a friend and we can hop in the room and talk. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like I'm being disrespectful towards your team or anything like that, go ahead and add me on Discord. We can hop in the call and we can have a conversation. So that's my Discord name right there. Please add me if you want to hop in the conversation. I seen Jack said he wanted to get his thoughts off. I'm not sure if you meant on Discord or just in the chat yourself. But Jack, you already got me. So if you want to hop on the call, just holler at me. And we're going to get it popping. But without further ado, first round predictions for the NBA playoffs. I got the list in the background, as you can see. The bracket. And so we're going to start from top to bottom, left to right, going with the Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Round one. Here we go. Now, as far as the Memphis Grizzlies go, I believe the Memphis Grizzlies as a team are a very young team on the rise. I expect them to be making noise in the future, but as of right now, I think they're a little bit ahead of schedule when it comes to how well they've been playing, especially in the Western Conference that's pretty goddamn stacked. The Memphis Grizzlies, of course, led by the young phenom Ja Morant. If you didn't see that game yesterday against the Golden State Warriors, a star was born last night. A star was born last night. Ja Morant, under that pressure, going against an MVP candidate, and I put that in quotation marks because Steph is not an MVP candidate. And I don't care what, he's not a top 3 MVP when you talk about a team that didn't even make the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's just, it is what it is. He had a hell of a season. But they didn't even make the playoffs and lost back-to-back games with a chance to make the playoffs. As an MVP, you got to at least carry your team to the playoffs. That's just, you know what I mean? That's just my point. That's just my theory in that sense. I remember when they gave Westbrook that MVP that year that he averaged a triple-double. And of course, the triple-double stat was amazing, but that team also made the playoffs that year. I believe they were even like the 6th seed or something like that. So that was a little bit worth it. I still probably wouldn't have gave it to him if I had a vote, but that was better than Steph. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't even be top 3 in the candidacy. He's not even MVP candidate. Anyway, so Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies are a young team. They got Ja Morant. They got Jaren Jackson. They have Jonas Valanciunas, who's been playing great. I think he had like 20 rebounds the other game. Like he's a big body that can grab boards and make it difficult in the paint. They got Dylan Brooks and Kyle Anderson, Grayson Allen. Even though I can't stand Grayson Allen, but he came through yesterday in that game hitting some big threes. They got a lot of good. They got a lot of grab your lunch pail and go to work hard hat players. That grit and grind Memphis Grizzly identity that they have over there. And I like what they're doing. I just don't think it's enough for them to make any noise in the playoffs right now. They still need to develop some guys. I think Jaren Jackson's going to be a beast in the future, but he's been hurt too much for him to actually develop a consistent game right now. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot of promise, and I think it's going to be good, but he needs to develop a little bit more. Ja Morant, to me, is already an all-star, and I think they're going to make a couple games interesting, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really make any noise in the playoffs, especially not against the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz are one of the most complete teams in the NBA. They have point guard Mike Conley, shooting guard / point guard Donovan Mitchell, who to me should have been maybe a top 5, but an MVP candidate. You're talking about the best team and the best player on that team. I think he's getting slept on. Rudy Gobert, a consistent defensive player of the year candidate every year. A 6th man of the year candidate, two 6th man of the year candidates, and Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles. And then Bojan Bogdanovic, who used to play for the Nets, so I know how he get down. He can shoot the 3. They just got guys sprinkled all over the place that can get the job done. You know what I'm saying? That can get the job done. They have a lot of weapons, and I think it's just going to be too much for the Memphis Grizzlies to win this series. Too much. You got guys that's playoff tested, playoff battled, regular season battled, veterans that know the ins and outs of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? That this is a 7-game series. So you're going to see the same players over and over and over and over and over again, and they're going to learn your tendencies. So what can you do as a player when they start to learn your tendencies? At that point, it comes down to a lot of skill and talent. And I don't believe the Grizzlies have enough developed skill and talent in order to withstand a 7-game series against the Utah Jazz. So I'm picking the Utah Jazz to win this series in a sweep. I don't think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to get one game. I think they're going to have some close games. I think they're good enough to get some games close. But I'm picking the Utah Jazz to sweep this series against the Memphis Grizzlies. It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, JackMoveJohnny, I know you a Memphis Grizzlies fan. How do you feel about this series? Do you want to hop in the Discord? You want to give your thoughts about how you feel about this series? And my prediction on the Memphis Grizzlies getting swept in this series? And don't get it twisted. I think the Warriors probably would have got gentlemen swept in this series. I think they would have got gentlemen swept. I think Steph could have got them one game. Steph probably could have got them one game. But Utah is no joke. They no joke. They had a great series against the Denver Nuggets in the bubble. Y'all seen what Donovan Mitchell did in the bubble last year. I'm going with a sweep. Jack said you can. All right, let me get Jack in the call real quick, y'all. All right, I'm gonna call up Jack. See what's up. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear Jack in the audio. I want to get his thoughts and opinions.
Hello.
Yo, what's good, Jack?
Hold on, let me make sure I get my right mic on, yeah. I definitely don't.
That's the right.
Yeah, you sound much better. Much better.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You know what I'm saying? We live doing these NBA playoff predictions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? I had to delay this video because the play-in game yesterday, I had to wait for all the seeds to be set in order to, properly assess the situation.
Oh, man.
And
so you saw that play-in game, right? You shot it, right?
That shit was lit. I told you yesterday, a star was born yesterday in Ja Morant. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear JackMoveJohnny if the audio is good, all right? So, yeah, I gave my predictions on the series. I love what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing in this NBA season. I love Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? A star was born yesterday. I like Jaren Jackson. He's been hurt a little bit this season. So, him coming back, I think he's going to be a great player in the future. I just don't think he has had enough time and development, at least this season, to withstand a series against the Grizzlies. That's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be going against guys like Rudy Gobert in the paint and stuff like that. Not a big offensive threat, but at least defensively, you know what I'm saying? Rudy Gobert is going to make things difficult for the big guys over there. But I just don't think it's enough. And I got the Grizzlies. I mean, I got the Jazz sweeping y'all, man. How you feel about that?
Honestly, I can see this going. Really, the best case scenario I can see for the Grizzlies is like if it goes 6 games. I can see it going 6 games.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not gonna argue what you said because I mean, when we played in the regular season, they got on our ass every game, and we had to claw back and still ended up losing every game. Matter of fact, we played them 3 times in 1 week.
Damn.
They was like the Grizzlies won like 5 of their last 8 games, but the 3 we lost was against the fucking Jazz.
Yeah, man.
The Utah Jazz, I watched them play quite a few games because I had a couple of their players in fantasy. But they 3-point scoring is their perimeter play is fucking ridiculous, right? So like, and the Grizzlies don't really guard the 3 like that. You see what I'm saying? So it can get nasty. You see, it can get nasty. But if the Grizzlies can stifle them from the 3-point line in any of these games, I like our chances. I definitely do. I can see it getting
Because a lot of people in the chat are telling me that they feel that the Grizzlies can get at least 1 game. Some saying even 2. And I think some games are going to be close. So. You know what I'm saying? If the Grizzlies are playing like they played yesterday, Ja Morant, I'm not sure what his percentage is from the 3-point on the season, but I felt like yesterday he was hitting a lot of big 3-point shots. That, you know, if he's hitting those shots in a regular game or in a playoff game, they could make some things interesting. You know what I'm saying? They could make some things interesting. I'm just of the mindset that it's not going to be enough. Like you said, they got good 3-point shooting. Joe Ingles. Bojan Bogdanovic, even Donovan Mitchell has been pretty decent, pretty good from the 3-point line.
Conley,
wait, Conley, wait. That's a whole nother dynamic for you, Jack. This is Mike Conley is your guy. You know what I'm saying? He was a Memphis Grizzly. The grit. What was the slogan? Grit and grind, or grind city, or
core 4, man.
Core 4.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. I remember those series against the Spurs and whatnot, where you know what I mean. They did their thing.
Mike Conley, that man came back with a broke face. 2016 had the Warriors down, 2-1 in the series. Everybody remember that, man. Like,
absolutely.
That was the first year the Warriors won the championship too. So
yeah, Mike
Conley definitely a legend in Memphis. Always respect Mike Conley. You know what I mean? If we happen to lose, if it's to Mike Conley, I ain't gonna be too fucked up about it.
Because one of your guys got a ring in Marc Gasol. You know what I'm saying? He got a ring over there with the Toronto Raptors. So
yep. You
know what I'm saying? If your Grizzlies get bounced, I mean, I could see, you know what I mean, pulling for the Utah Jazz to get a ring for your guy Mike Conley.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I fuck with Mike Conley. He still live in the city. You know what I mean? Still do charity events for the city. So Mike Conley in Memphis and Marc Gasol, for that matter, are still heavily intertwined with the city. You know, we got love for them guys. So I always root for them, regardless.
Memphis through and through, for real. But I'm excited for the series. I ultimately want to see the development of Ja Morant. Is this y'all first playoff series with Ja Morant?
Yeah, this is the second season. We missed the playoffs by a game last year.
Right.
But we played, bro, the bubble, the bubble was 8 games. They played fucking horrible in the bubble. They went like 2-6 in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Mind you, we was in the 8th seed, so we messed that up for the play-in. Ended up losing the play-in. Ja broke his hand or his wrist in the play-in.
Yep, I remember
Scored like
that.
38 points or something. So, yeah, man, for him to get to the playoffs in his second season is a great accomplishment, in my opinion.
Right, and that's what I don't want to be too disrespectful to the Memphis Grizzlies, because they on their way. The Western Conference is tough, and they always right there in the thick of things to make the playoffs or to be in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see the growth of the Memphis Grizzlies and how they play against this tough Utah Jazz team. If they get a game or two, I think that's amazing for them, and I don't think they should hold their heads down if that happens, if they lose or anything like that. Take that and learn from it, and absolutely go from there. So. I got the sweep. You say maybe 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, man.
So I think we got. I think that's cool. I respect that opinion from you as somebody who watched every damn Grizzlies game, and looking at it from that perspective. So appreciate your thoughts on that, Jack.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome to stick around for the future opinions or hop back in if you want. But we're gonna move on to the Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. How do I feel about this? I don't really I don't really got the Dallas. Okay, so with the Dallas Mavericks, they played the Clippers last year. And up until Porzingis got hurt in the bubble, the Dallas Mavericks were giving the Clippers everything that they asked for. The Clippers, Dallas Mavericks were winning games, and the Clippers had their hands full with Luka Doncic and Porzingis. And when Porzingis went down, it was over and done for the Dallas Mavericks. Porzingis this season has not left me to feel confident about his health in a playoff series against the Los Angeles Clippers. I love Porzingis. I actually wanted the Nets to trade for Porzingis back when the Knicks had got rid of him. And I thought he would be a perfect fit for the squad at the time. But ultimately, he went to Dallas. And I'm kind of happy we didn't do that trade because he's been an injury-prone player ever since. So if Porzingis can stay healthy, the Dallas Mavericks have Luka Doncic, of course. I like guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. that they have over there. Who else they got on that squad? Who else they got on the Dallas Mavericks?
I forget. I ain't gonna be like.
I have to look up their squad real quick.
Dwight Powell and
yes, Trey Burke is over there. Willie Cauley-Stein. Who else we got? They got Boban. I'm pretty sure he's coming off the bench. JJ Redick, I don't even think is playing. And Josh Richardson they have over there. So they got some nice pieces, but outside of Luka Doncic and Porzingis, if he's healthy, that's pretty much what they holding their hat on over there. I just don't think it's enough for them to make any noise unless Porzingis is healthy. If Porzingis is healthy and he can give them 20 points a game, 10 rebounds or something like that, then I can see them winning a few games. But I just don't see it as enough against a Clippers squad who has a Paul George. A Paul George. Now, a lot of people disrespect Paul George because of that series against the Denver Nuggets last year. Of course, we got nicknames like Way Off P, Pandemic P. Jack, I know you're a Paul George guy, so how you feel about those disrespectful shots at Paul George? You feel like they was warranted?
I mean, they were warranted because he put up a piss poor effort, but Paul George is my guy, and arguably my favorite player, non-Grizzly player. PG's my guy, right? And I just really think he be trying to play through these nagging injuries. He got to stop doing that because when he's not injured, he be in the MVP conversation. But when when he start playing fucked up, be like, oh, my shoulder been messed up for a couple of weeks, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, what's really going on with that guy? But I think he gonna turn around this season. I think he gonna turn around this postseason.
Yeah, and then I think you gotta factor in the whole bubble situation too, because a lot of people downplayed the whole mental health aspect of the bubble. You know what I'm saying? That was a big commitment for guys during the height of a pandemic to leave their loved ones and family, not be able to see them for months in person, not, you know what I mean? And having to play these NBA games at a remote location where you're getting tested every day and you're going through the trials and tribulations of a bubble type season. Now, I know people like to say, your mental got to be right, but everybody is built different. And I think that had a huge impact on Paul George's game, especially when he revealed it, because I don't take mental health lightly. You know what I mean? I think mental health is real and people need to pay attention to it and be serious about it. And it has different effects on every person. So I think Paul George, in the past, like Indiana days, he was balling out in Indiana, especially in the playoffs against Braun and them. But as as years went on with Russell Westbrook and OKC and stuff like that, he kind of disappeared. So like you said, the criticism is warranted, but I also think the pandemic and the bubble had a lot to do with where his mind space was in terms of the playoffs and where he was coming from. So they got Paul George. I'm looking for him to have a good season. I mean, a good playoff run. Kawhi Leonard usually does his thing in the playoffs. He got his load management and stuff like that going on that he does during the regular season to make sure his ass is healthy enough for the playoffs. And I think, to be honest, the Clippers have one of the deepest rosters in the league if you're, looking at it on paper. They picked up Serge Ibaka in the offseason. I think he's been hurt a little bit, so hopefully he's healthy for the playoffs. But I wanted Serge Ibaka on the Nets. I think Serge Ibaka on the Nets would have been fantastic. You see how I wanted everybody on the Nets, but you know what I'm saying? Like I just want everybody on the Nets, man. We need to beef up the center position. But Serge Ibaka they picked up. They have DeMarcus Cousins. Patrick Beverly's going to be that pest. Nicholas Batum was a good pickup for the Clippers. He's revitalized his career. Marcus Morris, the better Morris twin, in my opinion. I think they got over there. Patrick Patterson, a veteran. Rajon Rondo is over there as well. Playoff Rondo. That's who deserves the playoff title. Not playoff P, but playoff Rondo. That's a real player right there. When it comes to the playoffs, Rondo usually steps his game up and becomes an all-star level player in the playoffs. And then they got Zubac as well. So I think they have one of the deepest squads. And in terms of going against the Dallas Mavericks, I think Luka Doncic is going to get them 1, maybe 2 games. If Porzingis is healthy, I can see them winning 2 games. So I'm going with the Clippers in 6. The Clippers in 6 against the Dallas Mavericks if everyone is healthy. Everyone is healthy in terms of really Porzingis is really the one that I'm worried about. But what say you, Jack? What say you for this series?
I pretty much agree with everything you just said. I really think that the key player in this whole series is going to be Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, I'm a big Tim Hardaway Jr. guy. I've been fucking with him since he was in Atlanta. I think he even played for the Knicks.
Yep, he did.
The dude is low key. He a sneaky beast. I'm gonna be real. Like he can go off, right? So
yeah.
I don't think Porzingis. He's not dependable at all. So,
at all.
It's really Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr. What can they do against, like you said, this deep ass roster with the Clippers? I see, and the Clippers are a lot of people's favorite to come out the West. I see this going 6 games at the most. Clippers. That's how I see it going.
6 games as well as the Clippers. All right, we got RGT in the chat. What's good, brother? I know he a Knicks fan, so me and him be arguing a lot on Twitter. Delusional ass Knicks fans think players are scared to play for them, or that because the Knicks run New York that people actually care. Like. Don't listen. Don't nobody care about the Knicks running New York. That's because y'all Knicks fans is battered. Y'all have had nothing to root for except the Knicks. So y'all stuck in that miserable ass relationship with the Knicks who ain't been shit. Knicks ain't been shit for damn near a decade. Ain't been shit for damn near a decade. Y'all get into the playoffs this year. Shout out to Drew. Actually, we're gonna get into the Knicks. I'm gonna save my Knicks slander for a minute. Listen, Jack, my whole family is Knicks fans. So I get this every day.
It's deep rooted.
It's deep. It's deep. I'm the only Nets fan in a family of 8 siblings, and of course my pops and stuff like that is a Knicks fan. So, and you know what the funny thing is? My family's from Brooklyn. They from Brooklyn. Now I know the Nets didn't get to Brooklyn till pretty much yesterday, but they from Brooklyn. I'm the only one in the family that was born in New York City, in Manhattan at least. So I'm the one that should be the Knicks fan. They from Brooklyn. Once the Brooklyn Nets got there, it should have been a no-brainer for them. But they not loyal to the soil. So
that would have been an easy conversion.
Conversion.
When they came, the Nets was kind of, man, that would have been an easy conversion.
Easy. Like if an NBA team came upstate, I'm converting. That's it. But what y'all saying in the chat? A lot of y'all got the Mavericks winning the series. And I think it's because of playoff P, like I said. But
I mean, that's fair too, though, because the Clippers, even though the Clippers are like the favorite to come out the West, they really don't scare me for real. Like,
right.
The Clippers have shown, first of all, the past 2 seasons, they have shown an inability to hold a big lead. You know, I've never seen a team lose so many 20-point leads, 25. I'm like, yo, I turned the TV for a second. They lost, like, I don't know, bro. So they don't really scare me.
That is true. Like every time, I think the Nets played the Clippers 3 times, maybe twice or 3 times during the season. And at that time, we never had our big 3 complete for any of those games. But I never feared the Clippers in any of those games. They don't put fear in my heart when we get on the court with them. Even when we down big, it's like, I feel like we can come back against them. I feel like they're going to let up off the gas pedal and we can get right back in the game. And that's dangerous because when it comes to the playoffs, that's when the stars shine. Players step up. And if you don't have your, if you don't pull up your pants and tighten your belt, you could easily see yourself down 2-0 or losing those first 2 home games. And now you like, damn, the arenas is opening back up. You're getting more fans, home court advantage. That might actually be a thing this year. But I just don't trust the Mavericks as well. I don't even trust Luka Doncic, to be honest with you. But he's a beast. He's good. I just don't trust him over a 7-game series.
I hate Luka.
You hate Luka.
Some of the shit this dude pulls off, it's like, bro, how did you get away with it?
He fall away game winners. He got fall away game winners. He got lean in game winners. This dude just be doing everything. It's like, damn. It's like, yo, does this dude like? But defensive,
he make basketball look so easy to the point where like, damn, I need to get out there and start, putting up some. Like, how is he doing this shit?
For real, man. But yeah, man, we gonna move on. I think I got the Clippers in 6. You agree? A lot of y'all got the Mavericks. Some people saying Clippers in 5. We got in the chat. Ricky Dale, that's my brother in the chat. What's good, bro? He a Knicks fan. That's my brother in the chat right there. My boy Y Boss Briss in the building. What's good, bro? Mavs in 6. Blockstar Goat say Mavs in 6. Damn, a lot of y'all got Mavericks. Clippers in 5 from Justin Battle. All right. Yeah, man. Flashboard Gaming, what it do? All right, moving on. We got a few more to get through in the Western Conference, and then we're going to move on to the East, the Beast Coast. So next up, we have the Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trailblazers. Denver is coming in as a 3 seed this season with the MVP candidate, Nikola Jokic. In my opinion, it's not even a candidate. It's clear-cut, unanimous, no-brainer, without a shadow of a doubt, whatever idiom you want to come up with, whatever saying, phrase, Nikola Jokic, the Joker, is definitely the MVP of this season. He hasn't missed a game. He's putting up historical numbers, especially for a big man. Man's averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists for a 7-footer. That's insane. Insane shooting. Hold up. I gotta dive a little bit deeper because people are sleeping on the Joker. Let me pull up the percentages for y'all real quick of Nikola Jokic for this season. I already told y'all he's averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists on 56.6% shooting from the field and 38.8% from 3, shooting at 3 3-pointers at least per game. Come on. For a 7-footer, Jokic is the MVP of the season. He didn't miss a game. It's not even close. So the Denver Nuggets have a nice roster. Now, they did lose Jamal Murray, who is another playoff beast, playoff legend. If you didn't see the series against the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets last season, one of the greatest playoff series I've ever seen in my young ass life. What's his name? Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray were going back-to-back 50-point games, just dueling it out for one of the funnest, most exciting series that I've ever seen. But unfortunately, he did go down this season. I believe he tore something. One of them CLs he tore, I think ACL, MCL, or both. One of them shits he tore. Non-contact injury. He went down. It was bad. And he's done for the rest of the season. So they took a big blow. But they still have a lot of good players on that roster. They still have a Michael Porter Jr., who is a candidate for most improved player. Michael Porter Jr. came out of nowhere for me. Like, I knew he was going to be good because I remember back in the draft, he had slid in the draft because he had a back injury. So a lot of teams didn't want to take a chance with Michael Porter Jr. So he slid in the draft to the Denver Nuggets. I remember when they picked him up, I'm like, damn, in a few years, that's going to pay off. I just didn't think it was going to be this soon. And as you can see, he's putting up great numbers this year, shooting at a high percentage. And he's filling in nice for Jamal Murray, who went down as that second go-to guy. They also made a nice trade mid-season for Aaron Gordon, who was the Orlando Magic MVP. He's over there. He doesn't have as much of the offensive load anymore, but he's picking up in other areas with rebounding and defense. He has, focusing on things like that. Screening harder probably and stuff like that, since he doesn't have a focus on the offensive end. So they have guys like him. Your boy JaMychal Green is over there. Will Barton is a player over there. Paul Millsap is on the Denver Nuggets as well. JaVale McGee, a nice guy off the bench. Austin Rivers. So they have a nice squad. They have a nice squad on Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic. But Portland Trailblazers are coming in hot. They're coming in hot with Damian Lillard, who has been having a great season himself. Logo Lillard has been trademarked. He can pull up from anywhere just like a Steph. And also with CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, Carmelo Anthony. Shout out to Portland Trailblazers for giving Carmelo Anthony another shot in the NBA because it was so disrespectful how Carmelo Anthony wasn't even on the team, period, in the league. But I do think him being on the Portland Trailblazers is a good spot for him. He's even taking a role coming off the bench, so that's pretty good. And they made a trade mid-season to get let me pull up the
Norman Powell.
Yes, thank you, Jack. Norman Powell. I have a friend of mine who's a big Blazers fan because he's like Melo. And when that trade happened, he actually wasn't too happy because he liked Gary Trent Jr. But I think Norman Powell is a veteran, a battle-tested veteran that is going to come through for them in the playoffs. He was on the Toronto Raptors, I believe, when they won the chip that year with Kawhi. So I think, he has a lot of veteran leadership to offer to that team and some depth to help, some of the scoring load for Damian Lillard and that squad. So this one is one of the tougher series for me to pick because Damian Lillard, I think, is a superstar in this league. And the Denver Nuggets don't have a Jamal Murray, who I think could have went back-to-back or back and forth with a Damian Lillard in the playoffs as a great battle to see. Now, they have Jokic and they have Michael Porter Jr. to be the two dominant scorers. But I don't know. This one is hard for me to pick because both sides have great players, superstars, that can give you those big games with a great supporting cast, in my opinion. And I think this is one of the series that is going to go 7 games. I can see the series going 7 games. Now, if Jamal Murray was healthy, I'm probably picking a Denver Nuggets in 6. If Jamal Murray was healthy. Because I think with the Jamal Murray, they have a great squad. But with Dame and with CJ and Melo and Powell and Nurkic and those guys, Jack, I'm going with the Blazers in 7 games. I'm going with the Blazers in 7 games. Blazers coming in as the 6th seed. They coming in hot. But I don't think the Denver is the 3 seed. But with this roster currently constructed, it's a false 3 seed. That 3 seed was predicated on Jamal Murray and those guys all being healthy there. Jamal Murray not being there, I don't think they're a 3 seed. Oh, I forgot to mention Campazzo. Campazzo is a guard on the Denver Nuggets. He's a hell of a passer too, scrappy player. He's really good. I like him a lot. But he's no Jamal Murray. And so I got this game going 7 games. I got Dame Lillard having a fantastic series. And I got the Blazers winning this. Yeah, I'm going to take the Blazers in 7 games. What you got?
I definitely think this is going 7 games as well.
Yeah.
The thing about it, I feel the Nuggets overall have a better team, but they're missing their they're missing a lot of I even think Will Barton is hurt right now because I know he got injured like towards the end of the season.
Right.
He's like a key guy off the bench, like they 6 man. So
okay.
I'm not a big Aaron Gordon guy, never have been. I don't think he's that good. He's just a glorified dunker. But and I have seen a lot of Portland Trailblazers games because them and the Grizzlies, they just always get. They got a rivalry, so I'm very familiar with their squad. I actually do feel that Gary Trent. I would have kept Gary Trent Jr. I'm gonna be honest. I would have kept him. I think Norman Powell's dope, but I would have kept Gary Trent personally. I can see this series going to some shit to where like the first game 20-point blowout one way, next game 20-point blowout the other. One game close, one game. Like, I can just see it going back and forth like a real 7-game series. So yeah, I'm kind of leaning, but we know how Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum give it up too. Right. So I can definitely see this going set. I don't want to agree with you, but 7 for the Blazers sound right to me. It does sound right to me.
And I forgot to mention a few players. Robert Covington is also on the Blazers. He's a good 3-and-D guy. You might know him from the Houston Rockets and James Harden days. And also Anthony Simons is he's all right. Like he be coming in off the bench.
Anthony Simons, get it right.
He be coming in off the bench, hitting a couple threes and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna sleep on a guy like Simons. Enes Kanter, he can't play a lick of defense, but he can grab rebounds, and he's a pretty decent guy on the pick and roll on offense. So they have a nice squad over there. I feel like without a Jamal Murray, these two squads are like almost evenly matched in the playoff series. But I'm
probably the most evenly matched series in the West, if we being honest.
Yes.
Even over the 4 and 5 series.
Absolutely one of the most evenly matched series I got. Because I just feel like at currently constructed, the like looking at the seeded numbers might be a little bit deceiving in this situation. You got to kind of like pick apart the roster. And
Is Nurkic playing?
Last I checked, he was.
I like Nurkic.
Yeah, last I checked, he was. So
who gonna defend Jokic though? That's like you gotta ask certain questions. Like,
nobody.
That's what I'm saying. Like he
nobody.
Gonna really go crazy.
Like I look at superstars like Damian Lillard and Nurkic. It's like nobody's really gonna defend those people. And like in a 7-game series, you can do things like trap and stuff like that, and for and give up a man to. But Dame, he's a smart player. He's gonna find the open man. He's not one of those guys that's just gonna shoot for the hell of shooting it. You know what I mean? He takes his shots. You know what I mean? He does his thing, shooting from the logo and shit like that. But he's a smart player. Jokic at the same time, you double team Jokic, he's one of the best big man passers in the game. So you double team Jokic, that's dangerous. You're gonna have guys like Gordon and Porter cutting to the basket. So it's a dangerous game they're gonna have to play, but those guys are ultimately gonna be unstoppable over a 7-game series. You're gonna see some of the best basketball in this series right here, because the true talent is gonna have to come out, because schemes and all that other shit is gonna come out. Coaching is also gonna be a big factor in this game. You got Mike Malone and Denver, and I think Terry Stotts is the coach of the Blazers. So yes, coaching is definitely gonna play a big factor in this series. Ravishing Slick is in the building. What's good? He's a huge Lakers fan, so y'all make sure y'all give him booze in the chat before y'all get up out of here. He said Portland got him 2 years ago with Murray. Blazers will win. I agree. I think the Blazers got this series as well. Who else we got in here? Jaron Stamps is in the building. Nene's in the building. Mr. Sonic is in the building. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. We got one more series in the West to go over. And I know y'all seen the title of this stream. I know y'all seen the title in this stream. First round playoff predictions. Huge upset alert. Jack.
Yes, sir.
We got a huge upset on the horizon in this next series.
We might be on the same page again. we might be on the same page. After the news came out today, we might be on the same page again.
Oh, wait, some news came out today?
You didn't see about the LeBron COVID protocol?
Oh, no, they say he's not going to get suspended. What happened?
Well, they say he might have to stay off for 14 days, though, 7 to 14 days.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I read, right?
Hold on.
If he out for 7 days, a series lasts a week. If he's out for 7 days, the Lakers are losing. They not.
Whoa. Okay, so I'm reading the Woj tweet right now, and it says, as of 2 hours ago, LeBron James won't be suspended for protocol violation, sources tell ESPN. Nature of event didn't rise to a threat level of virus spread as described in the story below. So apparently LeBron James attended his tequila brand event and violated COVID protocols. What the hell was he thinking, first and foremost? I know he has that Lobos tequila shit going on, but what was he thinking right before the playoffs to do something like that? But if we're keeping it a stack, if he violated COVID protocols, he should be out, 10 to 14 days?
He got a quarantine.
He should have.
That's the whole first round.
He should have to quarantine. Now, maybe not suspended. I'm not sure how many players got suspended for violating COVID protocols, but having to quarantine, which is essentially like a suspension because you can't go nowhere, you can't play in the games, he should have to do that. He should absolutely have to do that. I think Karis LeVert is a player for the Indiana Pacers who right before the play-in started, he had to quarantine because of a violation of COVID protocols. Now, I'm not sure the extent of his violation, but he had to quarantine. I think it was 10 to 14 days. So he missed both play-in games, and Indiana ultimately ended up losing to the Washington Wizards. So the fact that LeBron James at a tequila event, come on, Jack, what are you doing at a tequila event? Like, and a serious question, what do you do at a drinking event?
Hey, man.
You drink, right? So masks are not on when you're drinking. You know,
he got people though. Like people didn't say like, "Yo, Bron, like playoff starting like tomorrow, my guy." Like, what's good? Like,
right? He has a tight circle. So the fact that he violated the protocols like this that's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb in this situation. But apparently he's not gonna have to miss a game. It's looking like because he's the NBA's darling.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're not saying nothing about. I think they play their first game tomorrow. They're not saying nothing about him missing a game at least. So if he doesn't miss a game, that's crazy. But I understand. Come on, Jack. He's the face of the NBA. He's the face.
They still might be in trouble even if he don't miss the game.
Yeah, we gonna get into that too. They still might be in trouble. He's the face of the NBA. Adam Silver's already catching heat because the babyface assassin is going home. Cabo on 3 and shit like that. But Steph Curry not being in the playoffs is probably a huge hit to the viewing ratings, and they not gonna do that to LeBron. They're not gonna do that to LeBron. But let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of the goddamn series. Los Angeles Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. Now, I want to start with the Phoenix Suns. I do want to start with the Phoenix Suns. Currently they are the 2 seed in the Western Conference. Second best record in the Western Conference, second best record in the NBA. Great overall season. Monty Williams is a candidate for Coach of the Year. I believe he's going to win that. I think it'll be a close race between him and Tom Thibodeau, but I think he's going to win the Coach of the Year. But Chris Paul, what can I say? When I talked about Steph Curry not being the top 3 MVP candidate, for me, I'm putting Chris Paul in that conversation for MVP candidacy. I think if you look at Chris Paul's track record over the past 3 or 4 seasons, you talk about a guy who goes to the Houston Rockets, and James Harden's been struggling all this time to make an actual impact in the NBA playoffs and make it deep in the NBA playoffs at that, ever since, he left OKC. And you get a guy like Chris Paul on that squad, and what happens? They go to a Western Conference series against the Golden State Warriors, who not only had a Steph Curry, not only had a Klay Thompson, a Draymond Green, but also had Kevin Durant. One of the greatest teams ever assembled, and they took them to 7 games with the Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul got hurt in that game 6, but
they would have won.
If
he messed up his hamstring, I really think the Rockets would have won.
Bruh, and that's it's no doubt in my mind. The Rockets missed 27 straight threes in that game 7, and they still lost by single digits? You add a floor general, one of the greatest point guards in league history, to that game. Somebody who can pull the reins and we tripping. Why are we shooting so many threes? We not hitting them. Let's run the pick and roll. Let's set up some plays. We got these guys right where we want them. We got him to a game 7. You add Chris Paul to a game 7 like that, and I believe the goddamn Houston Rockets are going to the NBA Finals, and I believe they would win because I think that year is the year that the Toronto Raptors won, and I think the Rockets would have beat those Raptors. So Chris Paul would have won that series. So you talk about Houston. You bring then Chris Paul leaves Houston. He goes to OKC. They traded Russell Westbrook to Houston. And they also traded Paul George to the Clippers. Chris Paul goes to that squad. Nobody expects him to really do anything. Oh, why the hell is Chris Paul on the OKC Thunder? They don't have a shot. They don't have a shot to do anything. They make the playoffs. They play a 7-game series against the Houston Rockets. Ultimately lose. But nobody even had them in the playoffs to begin with. So Chris Paul goes to that squad and brings them along. And now you look at this year. Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns missed the playoffs last year. They had a great bubble. I think they won 8 straight games in the bubble, but just missed the playoffs to the Blazers on that last game that the Blazers played against the Nets. Had a great bubble, just missed the playoffs, so they were an up-and-coming team. You throw Chris Paul on that squad, as well as a couple other veteran players, and they got the second best record in the league. Second best record in the league with the squad. Now, when I look at the Phoenix Suns in the playoff series, I got to be honest with them having young guys and not being playoff battle tested. Devin Booker's never been in the playoffs. DeAndre Ayton has never been in the playoffs. 2 great players, Devin Booker, all-star in this league, but it takes a different level of game when it comes to the playoffs. I mentioned this before. 7-game series, teams are going to scheme against you. They're going to learn your tendencies. What can you do against those schemes is what it's going to come down to. I think Devin Booker is going to be fine. He's a bucket. He's a baller. He's going to get his. I worry about a DeAndre Ayton, especially going against guys like Anthony Davis and Big Penguin, Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond, even though, you know what I mean, he ain't that much of a threat. But I worry about guys like that. But you have veterans on that squad. You have Chris Paul. You have, what's his name? The dude with the dreads. I think he was on Memphis last year.
Dude with the dreads. Who you talking about? What team?
On the fucking Houston Rockets. I mean, Houston Rockets. Phoenix Suns. I'm losing my train of thought. Jay Crowder.
Oh yeah. I miss Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder, yes, he's a veteran player.
Jay Crowder so much, bro. Great player
on that squad. You got Dario Saric, Mikal Bridges is a great player, and then you got a couple guys sprinkled coming off the bench: Cameron Johnson, Langston Galloway, Javon Carter. Not really big names, but your big names are going to be CP3, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton that you're looking at. They play great team basketball. So when I look at, Cameron Payne too. Cameron Payne has been balling lately. Cameron Payne has been balling. I don't like his game. He shoots weird as hell, but he's actually been putting up some buckets these past, over like the past month and stuff like that. They play good team basketball. So I think with CP3 running the point, I think they got a good squad there. I think they got a good squad that's gonna make some noise in the playoffs. Fast forward over to the Lakers. Actually, you got any thoughts on the Phoenix Suns before I move over to the Lakers?
Great team. Like you said, Monty Williams got them boys out there playing. Mm-hmm. CP3, Hall of Famer. I love CP3, man. Even though I've had some classic rivalries with some of his teams, I can't never say nothing bad about CP3. Basketball IQ is off the charts. Not a big DeAndre Ayton guy. Not a fan. I feel the 3 people drafted after DeAndre Ayton are actually better than him. So, like, you got to remember Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson, even though he be injured a lot. Mm-hmm. All these people drafted after DeAndre Ayton. So, I feel like all them guys are better. But other than that, they definitely are great. They kind of like the Utah Jazz with their perimeter score. Like, their scoring ability is pretty insane if you've ever seen them play. They put up, they might fuck around, put up 145 points in the game. Like, what the? And so, they them dudes. I respect the Utah. I would say Utah. I respect the Phoenix Suns a lot.
Right. Okay. So, moving on over to the Lakers side. Lakers, defending champions, just raised the banner a few days ago. Of course, they got the GOAT LeBron James over there, a.k.a. One-Eye Willie. One-Eye Willie over there, LeBron James. Anthony Davis. They picked up Big Drum. Pick up Andre Drummond, halfway through the season, and they got Dennis Schroeder. What the hell is the dude's? I'm fucking terrible with names today. Montrezl Harrell, they have him too. We talk about 2 players that were, one was the 6th man of the year last year, and the other one was the runner-up for 6th man of the year last year. Yes. And then they got guys sprinkled around like Tavius Caldwell Pope, Alex Caruso. Marcus All even coming in off the bench now. Taylor Horton Tucker, Kyle Kuzma, Wes Matthews, Ben McLemore, which was a sleeper pickup in the offseason. I don't know how much time he's going to get, but Ben McLemore. He got into a what?
A car wreck.
Oh, damn. So he might have
a single car wreck. They said after they beat the Warriors the other day, yeah.
Oh, he went out drinking. He went out celebrating and shit. They got Markieff Morris on that squad too. So they got a deep-ass roster. The Lakers do have a deep-ass roster, and I'm not worried too much about their depth. When it comes to the Lakers at the end of the day, plain cut and simple, the health of Anthony Davis and LeBron James is what is ultimately going to come down to for them in the NBA playoffs. Anthony Davis missed a lot of games this season with that calf injury. Some people would suspect it was related to the Achilles. And so before it got that bad, they sat his ass down, and he only ended up playing 36 games this season. LeBron James, Iron Man, missed a bunch of games with that ankle injury, high ankle sprain. He ultimately only ended up playing, I think he played, I want to say maybe 40 30 or 40 games this season. Let me double check that real quick for y'all. Yeah, LeBron James played 45 games this season. So he had some injury problems going on. Now, they were able to get a few games in towards the end of the regular season and the play-in together, where we kind of got a little bit of a look at what the Lakers were looking like. And I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like what I saw from Anthony Davis, who had a lot of iffy games. I didn't like what I saw from LeBron James in that play-in game against the Warriors. Anthony Davis, to me, he's not 100% healthy. He is settling too much on his jump shot. And I think he needs to get down in the post a lot more and bang bodies with some of these smaller guys in the playoffs. Because, especially against the Warriors, like, what the hell was he doing in that series? He ended up having a good again, in that game. He ended up having a good fourth quarter, but he was settling too much early on, and the Warriors took a big-ass lead. You can't do that in the playoffs. You can't do that in the playoffs. If Klay Thompson was playing, it probably would have been over for the Lakers in that game. Probably would have been over for the Lakers in that game. LeBron James didn't look like himself. He wasn't finishing at the basket like he normally does, and I feel like he's still working himself back into game shape. And will try to use the playoffs as that to get himself back into shape. Same goes for Anthony Davis. Andre Drummond, I feel like he hasn't had enough time chemistry-wise to fit in with the guys, but ultimately all he really has to do is kind of stand there and collect rebounds. So as long as he's not clogging the paint, I think he's going to be okay. And their role players, I think, have been playing fantastic. Dennis Schroeder, I worry about him a little bit. He's in a contract year. They had a little bit of dispute, couldn't come to an agreement with a contract. And he likes to play hero ball sometimes, in my opinion. And I feel like some of that shit is going to play in the playoffs. Hopefully not, but I don't trust him in the playoff series. And I feel like the Lakers trying to work themselves back into shape during the playoff series. The Phoenix Suns are the wrong team to do that against. I think it's going to be a bad time for the Lakers in this series. And listen, Jack, I'm picking the Phoenix Suns. I'm picking the Phoenix Suns in 7 games against the Lakers in this series, dog. I'm picking the Phoenix Suns. This is my huge upset in this bracket to beat the Lakers. I just don't think that they're there enough. I know talent is ultimately going to win, but health of those talented players, I'm concerned about. I'm deeply concerned about the health of Anthony Davis and LeBron James when it comes to this series. That's it, man. That's what that's just how I'm feeling, man. That's just how I'm feeling.
Oh, bro. This is the thing. We've seen the Lakers with LeBron and no AD, and they look pretty fucking horrible. And we've seen the Lakers with AD and no LeBron, and they look fucking horrible. And we've seen the Lakers without either of them, and we already know the result, right? So if them two dudes ain't good to go, and Anthony Davis the most injury-ridden, injury-prone, like, I think, you know what I think? He's very careless with his body because he was a point guard at first, and then he had like a growth spurt. And he still think he a point guard. Like, he's very careless with his body, you know.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, oh, Anthony Davis farted and broke his cranium. How did that happen? So, if AD and LeBron are good to go, I got the Lakers winning in like 6. But if either one of those guys miss any significant time, the Suns and 7 sound like a great outcome to me. I don't even want to pick it. Right. I'm gonna say the Lakers.
You gonna go with the Lakers?
6.
Okay.
Yeah, Lakers.
I'm not mad at that pick. I just like I never been one to question the health of LeBron. Like, he's been one of the most durable players in the league history. Man's 36 years old, year 18, playing in the league at a historical level. I just feel like this year is like, it just feels a little bit different to me. That ankle, like the recovery, that recovery from the ankle was nasty. You had days where they were like, yeah, LeBron is coming back against I think it was like the Knicks. And Woj reported it. The team is like, yeah, he's going to play. Come game time, LeBron not playing. He's going to play against the Houston Rockets. Then the Houston Rockets game get here. LeBron is definitely, if not against the Knicks, he's playing against the Houston Rockets. Bet, cool. LeBron doesn't play against the Houston Rockets. Well, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on with that ankle? How much rest? Like, is it rest? Is it the ankle? Like, what is it? What is going on?
Hey, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question though. You think he playing possum? You think he knew pretty much they was guaranteed a spot, so he was on some shit to where like I'm a rest up, and on the playoffs I'm really finna, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he really finna get out there. You think that was the situation?
So I thought that at first. I'm like, come on, Bron, chill. You bugging. Like, maybe they just, conceded and going into the play-in, and he's just getting as much rest as possible. But then the Warriors game happened. And I'm like, without that prayer of a three-pointer from LeBron, one-eye Willie, they almost lost. They almost lost that game. Now, I think they probably would have beat the Grizzlies, but shit, who knows? Who knows? Who the hell knows? They didn't look convincing in that game. And I'm just like, you have this crazy recovery from the ankle. You have this suspect game against the Warriors. I don't trust you going into the playoffs right now. And the Phoenix Suns are a great fucking team. Phoenix Suns are a great team that I think is going to give the Lakers fits. So
the Lakers' experience is going to really be a factor in this too, though, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about the Lakers, I don't understand the rotations really. Like, I don't understand how DeAndre is playing over Marc Gasol. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like there's better. And I even like Montrezl Harrell over Drummond just because of the offensive situation.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great defender and rebounder, but I mean,
right.
How far are they really going to take you? And because these games are probably going to be pretty high scoring as well. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. So that's definitely one of my upsets of this series. I might have another one, but I don't think it's going to be as big as that pick of the Phoenix Suns beating the Lakers in 7 games. It's going to be a tough battle. They can shoot, man. They can shoot. The thing with the Lakers is I got a lot of respect for their role players. I got a lot of respect for Caruso. I got a lot of respect for KCP. Kuzma, it depends on what color his hair is for the game.
He's a clown.
It depends, dog. If he come through with the Cisco blonde hair, then maybe he'll give you 15 points in the game and shit like that. But if his shit is like, I don't know, Barney purple, then the Lakers is losing in 4, man. I mean, it might be over from jump. But I like those guys. Dennis Schroeder. I like Dennis Schroeder, but I don't know. I don't know about him. And Taylor Horton Tucker, I don't think he's gonna get that much time, but he's a decent player as well. So Lakers in 7. We're gonna move on to the Eastern Conference, the most important conference in this goddamn playoff bracket.
No, sir.
Ain't that right, Jack? Ain't that right?
Sir. No, sir. We finna see the most boring games in this damn bracket. Let's talk about it.
Nah, that's low-key facts. A lot of these series are predictable. I think maybe 1 or 2 are going to be exciting. And that's about it for the Eastern Conference. So, let's start at the top. Philadelphia 76ers versus the Washington Wizards. Philadelphia 76ers have been one of those teams that people have been predicting to pretty much win the whole goddamn East. A lot of people have been predicting to win the East. You got them, of course, with the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks as like the top 3 teams in the East. But a lot of people look at a guy like Joel Embiid, who's been having an MVP caliber season and probably would have won it if he didn't miss a significant amount of games due to injury. But Joel Embiid has been goddamn unstoppable. Not a single player in this league can stop Joel Embiid over a 7-game series. Your best bet with Joel Embiid is double teaming him and forcing the ball out of his hands. But I think you got to give credit to the Philadelphia 76er front office who picked up some shooters for the Philadelphia 76ers with guys like a Danny Green and a Seth Curry, 2 of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Now, Danny Green had a suspect series with the playoffs with the Lakers last year, but you still can't sleep on a guy like that. You know what I mean? You got to respect his shot. You got to respect what he offers to the game with defense and as well as scoring. Seth Curry, he comes from the Curry family, Also, I think he's even shooting at a higher percentage this season than Steph Curry, as far as from the 3-point range. So they got shooters sprinkled around. Joel Embiid. You got Benjamin Simmons, and I call him Benjamin Simmons because he ain't got no J. But he's a but he's a great defender. One of the league top 3 defensive player of the year candidates in the league. So I like Ben Simmons from that perspective. He a cocky motherfucker, I tell you that much. He a cocky motherfucker when it comes to who he think he is in his league. But I like that in a play. Confidence is key, so I respect it. And then I think one of the most underrated players in the goddamn NBA is Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, I think, gets slept on so hard that people forget he's a bucket. He's a bucket. Now, don't get him confused with J. Cole. He's not averaging 3 points a game. He ain't averaging 3 points a game professionally. But Tobias Harris is giving you 20.7 rebounds, 4 assists a game this season. And the season where Joel Embiid has been so dominant. So people sleep on Tobias Harris, but I know what he offers defensively and on the offensive side of the ball. So Philadelphia 76ers have a lot of weapons, and we didn't even get to their bench. That's just the starting 5. Off the bench, they got a Dwight Howard, who I think the Lakers are missing severely this season. Dwight Howard defensively was a major piece for that Lakers championship run. He's a good guy off the bench that's going to give you 10 rebounds, maybe 10, 15 points a game. Who else you got off the bench? Matisse Thybulle, another great defender. I remember when Matisse Thybulle first came into the league and they were playing against the Nets, and he just came out he was just a dude that came out of nowhere. And he locked dudes the hell up. I'm like, yo, who is this guy? Nobody even heard of him. He's not a threat offensively, but defensively, he can cause a lot of problems. Shake Milton, who I believe is a rookie or maybe even a second-year guy who can come off the bench and give you a couple points. Mike Scott, a veteran. Therese Maxey. They got a lot of guys just sprinkled all around. Anthony Tolliver, a veteran, that can go along with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris and what they're doing over there. On the other end, you got the Washington Wizards, who have Mr. Triple-Double in Russell Westbrook, and they have Bradley Beal, and that's pretty much about it. How your boy Flight saying the rest are nobodies. You got a few guys over there, and the rest are pretty much nobodies.
You gonna disrespect Alex Lamb like that, bro?
Yeah, I'm disrespecting Alex Lamb like that, bro, because
that's great.
he not doing nothing with Joel Embiid. He not doing nothing. he not even doing nothing with Dwight Howard, dog. Like, you know what I mean? He ain't doing nothing with that. I like Davis Bertans. I like Bertans on the Wizards. Who else I like over there? Rui Hachimura. He's a nice little up-and-coming player that I think is going to be I think he's going to be one of the best role players in this league in Hachimura. But nobody else is really doing much over there. But those two guys in Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are not to be slept on. They're not to be slept on. Bradley Beal can give you a 50-point game whenever he feel like it. Russell Westbrook can give you a 20, 30-point triple-double damn near whenever he feel like it. But is that going to equate to winning basketball? I think you had a tweet on Twitter one of those days where every time Bradley Beal have one of those crazy offensive games, they lose.
Low-key. Or they'll be by like 1 or 2. It's like, bro, you had to score 60 to win by goddamn.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Or I know Westbrook has a higher percentage when higher win percentage when they have a triple-double. But looking at this season, he's averaged a triple-double, and they barely squeaked into the 8th seed. You know what I'm saying? So how much winning basketball are they playing when they're getting those high numbers? So outside of those guys, another thing that I like about the Wizards, I like Ish Smith. Somebody mentioned Ish Smith in the chat. I do like Ish Smith. He's a nice veteran player. I just don't think Ish Smith is over a 7-game series, is going to give you much. Outside of those two guys, I like that the Wizards play a fast-paced, high-scoring offense. But that's also a dangerous game going against the Philadelphia 76ers. because even though Joel Embiid can bang bodies in the post and has an elite post game, he can shoot the three too. He can shoot the three at a high clip. And so if you're playing fast pace with Ben Simmons running the point and those shooters sprinkled around, including Joel Embiid, they can match you in that type of style. And I don't think the Wizards have enough weapons or enough defense to go against the Philadelphia 76ers. However, I do think the Wizards can get one game off of the Philadelphia 76ers with Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook having historical games like a 50-point game from Beal or a 20-point triple-double from Russell Westbrook. Those are all-stars, so I'm not going to disrespect them like that. I think those guys can give you one game. So I got the Philadelphia 76ers winning this in a gentleman's sweep of 5 games.
We pretty much on the same page with this. I don't, I pretty much hated Russell Westbrook his entire career. He's a little bit more likable now, but I can't deny what he does. Mm-hmm. His numbers are insane. But then again, like you say, he's playing for teams full of bums. It's pretty much garbage time minutes. So of course the team gonna let you rebound the ball 35 times. Just crazy, just insane numbers we ain't never seen before. I mean, if you lose them by fucking 20 points, I don't care what you're doing. But
right.
I'm pretty much in full agreement. I see this going about 5 games. I actually think the Wizards would have matched up better against the Nets. I think they still lose that matchup as well, but I just think that would probably be a better matchup for them.
Right.
I was a little bit higher on the Wizards until I saw their performance in the play-in games. They got blew out their first play-in game, right? And to a dysfunctional Indiana Pacers team that's been, you got coaches fighting on the bench and all types. So
Facts.
They got blew out by like 30. Like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I was kind of hounded because they were playing really well at the end of the season. So,
right.
I don't see this going past 5 games. I think the Sixers going to get in there and get it done.
Right. And to go back to your point about the Wizards versus the Nets in a matchup, I was low-key hoping that the Wizards didn't get that 7th seed because that fucking game against the Wizards when they beat the Nets traumatized the hell out of me, Jack. Like, bro, that game, like, when that shit happened, I was laying in bed watching the game with my wife, and I literally took the pillow and screamed as loud as I've ever screamed in my life when Russell Westbrook hit that 3. I said, you cannot be fucking serious. We up 5 with like 3 seconds left, and they can't even inbound the ball. Couldn't even inbound the ball properly to get it into KD in order to seal the game. You get it into KD, he's damn near automatic from the free throw line. You got the game. Couldn't even do that right. They steal the ball and they toss it back to Russell Westbrook of all players. Of all players, you toss it back to Russell Westbrook, who's shooting like fucking 15% from 3, and this dude hits a goddamn game-winning 3-point shot.
Yeah.
So
that lost me fantasy that week. That one game I was I'm like, bro, close the fucking game.
Close it. That's one of our biggest problems. I ain't gonna lie. We're gonna get to the Nets, but that's one of our biggest problems is closing games this season. But yeah, my dad called my brother. I guess he might have betted on the Nets that game and lost, and he was pissed the hell off. I ain't never fucking betting on the Nets again. Like, it was a bad season. Even though the Nets finished second in the conference and like 5th league wide, it was bad to bet on them because they were losing games that they were supposed to win. We were supposed to finish first in the Eastern Conference, but that's another subject for another day. So I got the Wizards winning this series. I don't think anybody's going to be too surprised about that. Philadelphia, they just got too much. They got too much for the Wizards. You double team Joel Embiid. You're going to kick it to guys like Steph Curry, Danny Green, even Benjamin Simmons, like, give you a couple points and shit like that. So too much. Shout out to Doc Rivers. He got them boys playing hard. The next freaking series we got, and I'm going to put up what you call those timestamps or cards or whatever. So that way people can watch this back and, find their team and figure out what they want to do. I know RGT was a big Knicks fan. We got a couple Knicks fans in the building. New York Knicks as the 4 seed going up against the Atlanta Hawks as the 5th seed. Now, before I get into this series real quick, I do have some Knicks slander. Knicks fans, listen to me real quick. Listen to your boy. I love and absolutely respect what the Knicks are doing. I'm giving y'all a little bit of Stephen A. I got to, Stephen A, every time he about to slander somebody, such and such is my brother. We go way back. I've known him for 20 years. I've known the Knicks for 29 years. I mean, 28 years. I'm 28 years. I've known the Knicks for 28 years. I got a lot of love and respect for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? We go way back. But the New York Knicks are one of the worst franchises in league history, especially over the past 20 years. The New York Knicks are goddamn abysmal, and you Knicks fans, you keep showing up to these goddamn games, selling out the Madison Square Garden, even after James Dolan does things like throws Charles Oakley out of the Garden? What? Charles Oakley, one of the Knick greats, one of the Knick bruisers back in the Patrick Ewing days where, you know what I mean? You had to go to Charles Oakley to get to Patrick Ewing and guys like that. Spike Lee having issues on what door to go in the Garden. Spike Lee damn near spending enough money on the Knicks that he probably could own them motherfuckers at this point. One of the biggest fans in the league, super fans in the league. You talk about fans being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Spike Lee is one of those ones. And y'all Knicks fans continue to support this garbage and sell out the Garden. Now this season, y'all had a great season. Clap it up for y'all. Great season, 4th seed. Julius Randle has been playing great. But then y'all get this entitlement that the Knicks is somehow this upper echelon franchise that has won the most championships in league history. The Knicks have 2 or 1. I don't even know. 2 or 1 franchises. But yet every time a player goes to another team, it's KD and Kyrie were too scared to play for the Knicks. Who the hell is scared to play for the garbage-ass Knicks? Don't nobody want to play for them. Your franchise is terrible. Franchise is terrible. Don't nobody want to play for them. The culture was bad. The culture was bad. Y'all was missing playoffs. The last time y'all were even relevant is when y'all had Melo and y'all won that series against Boston. And even then, you can look back on that Melo trade as a mistake if we really want to talk about it. And then y'all just feel like, oh, the Nets don't run New York. The Nets don't run New York. The Nets will never run New York. Who cares? Who cares about running New York when you're trying to hang banners? You know what the Nets run? Playing basketball in June and July. The Knicks are, we're going to get into it. The Knicks ain't playing basketball in June and July. All right? Y'all might get the first round, but y'all going home. Y'all going home. So pipe down. Okay? All right. Let's get into the series. Knicks versus the Hawks. I like the Hawks. I do. I was talking to my mans earlier in the season when they played the Nets, and I'm like, he was like, oh, the Nets is struggling against the Hawks, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, don't sleep on the Hawks. They got a nice squad with Trae Young, guys like John Collins. They picked up that Bogdanovich dude that the Milwaukee Bucks was trying to get. And they also have Lou Williams over there. Cam Reddish, who I think is going to be great, but I think he might.
What the hell? Oh, yeah, he did get traded over there.
Yeah, Lou Williams got traded to the Hawks. Who else they got? And DeAndre Hunter. I'm not sure if DeAndre Hunter is even healthy right now. I haven't heard from him recently, but he's a great defender on the Hawks. Now, when it comes to the Hawks, and Kevin Herter, however you say his name, the white boy that he can shoot pretty well. He's actually from my hometown. He's from Albany, upstate New York. So shout out to him. But and they got Clint Capella as a big man who has been playing great defense this season. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Hawks in this series. I think they can score with the best of them. Trae Young, he can't play a lick of defense, but offensively, he's a great player. When it comes to this series, I think the Hawks are going to give the Knicks trouble. Not even trouble, because the Knicks play great defense. I got to keep it honest. The Knicks play great goddamn defense, one of the best defenses in the league. So Trae Young is going to have his hands full. But Trae Young kind of has that James Harden game where he kind of gets into the teeth of the defense, pick and roll, has the player kind of like hanging on his hip. You know how Luka Doncic does a little bit too, where like off the pick and roll, the player's kind of behind him, but also another player in front of him at the same time. So if he stops a little bit, you foul him from behind, or he could just let the floater off. He kind of plays like that, and then he's also a threat from three. So I think the Hawks have a lot of offensive talent, but I don't think they're going to be enough for the Knicks. After all that slander that I just gave the Knicks, I don't think they're going to be enough for the New York Knicks. Now, what I respect a lot about the New York Knicks this season is that their defense has been fantastic. Even when the Nets played them, all those games have been close. And when I told you, Jack, that the Nets have problems with like inbound in late games, the Knicks exposed that really bad. The Knicks exposed it because with Tom Thibodeau as their coach, they play the full 48 minutes. They are not letting up one bit. Tom Thibodeau got these guys playing wire to wire, 48 minutes. Defense is the most important thing. Stop the other team from scoring. The offense will take care of itself. Tom Thibodeau got these guys playing hard. Julius Randle, a most improved player candidate. He's been playing his ass off. I think he's going to get all NBA as well as that most improved player candidate. His three-point shooting has been great. He's been a great leader for the squad. Averaging, what is Julius Randle averaging? I know he's upwards of 20 points. Let me see what we got for Julius Randle real quick. They got him at the bottom. Julius Randle is giving you, hold up, my bad. Julius Randle. Boom, here we go. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 45% shooting from the field. And I think his three-point percentage is at 41%. So he's having a great year.
That's fucking insane.
That's a great year right there. RJ Barrett is also an up-and-coming player for the Knicks. He was drafted, I think, with John Morant, right? Was he drafted last season? Third pick, yep. He's been playing better. He's shooting 40% from the three-point range, 17 points a game, great defense, 3 assists, almost a steal a game and stuff like that. Played all 72 games, so very durable. And then you got these veterans. I love what the Knicks did with the veterans sprinkled around this squad. Alec Burks, a sniper from three-pointer. Derrick Rose. How could I forget about Derrick Rose, who is nominated for Sixth Man of the Year? Derrick Rose has been playing fantastic. I haven't seen Derrick Rose play this well going back to damn near the Chicago Bulls days. He had his days in Minnesota and in Detroit, but I see a different Derrick Rose this season. Somebody who is back healthy and really serious about, being in the playoffs and stuff like that. If it's one thing that I want to say about the Knicks that I don't like, is their late game situation stuff. I think Julius Randle plays a lot too much hero ball late in games, and I kind of want to see him because he hasn't really been too clutch from the games that I've seen. I haven't watched every game, but from the games that I've seen, whenever I see Julius Randle with the ball late in games, it usually doesn't work out well for them. They either go to overtime or they lose. I want to see Derrick Rose with the ball in his hand late in games. I think the Knicks have a better shot at winning close games with Derrick Rose having the ball in his hand. He's a point guard, more of a scoring guard, but I think he makes the right decisions and he can score his ass off. What's his name? Nerlens Noel is their big man who's been playing great defensively, and Reggie Bullock has been shooting well from the three-point range. So I think ultimately, though, the Knicks don't have as many pure scorers on their squad. Julius Randle, a Derrick Rose, and a little bit of a RJ Barrett as well as a veteran sprinkled around. I think that's going to be enough for them to cause havoc and beat the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games. I got the Knicks winning in 6.
I'm kind of biased when it comes to this matchup. First of all, with the Knicks, I'm really a Julius. I've been a Julius Randle guy since he went to the Pelicans, because I was watching his career. I remember when he came in with the Lakers. Right. They were comparing him to Zach Randolph-Zebo heavily. Yep. And I watched him play, and I'm like, this dude is ass. So he went to the Pelicans. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, he kind of doing a little something. But now it's like, okay, I see the comparison. Now, this dude is a goddamn beast, okay? Right. Every time I watch this dude play, I'm like, is he going to miss a shot? Like, can you miss a shot, bro? Like, Julius Randle is something serious, bro. Like, and the Knicks is like I like the Knicks because they like some riff-raff misfits in the NBA, but they made it work, right?
Right.
And shout out to Tibbs because Tibbs is known for running his players into the goddamn ground. I'm surprised ain't nobody tore no shit. Shout out to Tibbs, possible coach of the year.
Right.
D-Rose. Hey, man, the Knicks are a great team right now. I'm very surprised. They weren't even projected to win like over 25, 26 games. So the fact that they're the fourth seed in the fifth seed. No, they're the fourth seed. Yeah, the fourth seed in the playoffs.
Yep.
Amazing to me. So
yeah.
And as far as the Hawks go, not a big Hawks guy. For some reason, they won't beef with like the Grizzlies, and we're not even in the same division. I don't get it. Or the conference. Cotton Candy here, I think is overrated. I mean, Trae Young. Cotton Candy here, my bad. Trae Young, you know, Ice Trae, a little chilly out there, right, Trae?
Ice Trae again.
He don't play no fucking defense. Offensively, he's great. Side note: the Dallas Mavericks belong in prison for pulling off their trade. The fact that they got Luka Doncic, they belong in prison for that. Okay, the fact that they traded Trae Young for Luka Doncic, but
right.
But I will say this about the Hawks: I have not seen them play since they fired their coach. I think his name was Lloyd Pierce. And they fired him because he was going at Trae for, playing that, I'm trying to catch a foul. He was playing for fouls pretty much. He was playing to actually score the bucket, right? So his coach went at him for that, and they fired his ass, and I thought it was a bad decision. But ever since then, they damn near didn't lose a game since then, right? So clearly that was the issue. I do think the Hawks are a very solid team. I'm not going to disrespect them too much. I do think they're going to lose in 5 games, though. I got this going 5 games to the Knicks.
5 games to the Knicks.
I think the Knicks gonna be a little bit too much for them. Yeah, man, I just see it going 5 games Knicks.
Right.
It's gonna be I think it's gonna be light work for the Knicks. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's gonna be light work.
I don't underestimate their defense. Like, I understand what that defense can do, and if they can, like, I don't know if you could take Trae Young out the game, but making it hard for Trae Young to either get his buckets or get other players involved.
If you shut down Trae, that team is
right.
Their offense is nasty.
It's curtains.
Exactly.
It's curtains if you shut down Trae. So if he, you know what I mean, they got a lot of bodies to throw at Trae Young. I like Emmanuel Quickly, the rookie point guard that they got. I really like him. But the thing I'm concerned with about the Knicks, they got a lot of young pieces, but as hard as they play, I do want to see how well they do in the second round or something like that, as far as, like, just durability. With Coach Thibs being their coach, they talk a lot about how Thibs had to actually tell players this year to chill, like, yo, we ain't practicing today. You know what I mean? Go home, relax, be with your family. So, you know what I mean? They want to play, but how, you know what I mean? Some of these guys have not been in the playoffs before, so it's a whole different beast. But we got the Knicks going, moving on to the next round. Shout out to them. And we got 2 more series to get into before we get out of here. I won't make these too long because actually the Bucks Miami game about to come on. So we won't make this too long. But speaking of Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat, the game that's about to come on at 2, Milwaukee Bucks coming in as a 3 seed, Miami Heat coming in as a 6 seed. A lot of history with this series. I think the Miami Heat actually got the Bucks up out of here last year. No. Did they? Yes, I think they did. I think they got him. They got him out of here last year. A lot of pressure on Giannis Antetokounmpo, who won Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. One of the few players in league history to ever do that. So he has a lot of pressure on them this year. They did a decent job I think they did a great job with getting him some help in the offseason with Drew Holiday, another underrated player in this league. Fantastic defense and can score the bucket as well. You also got Chris Middleton, who is an all-star playing with Giannis. Good defense, also a scorer. He reminds me of I put Chris Middleton and Tobias Harris kind of in like that same category. Guys that can score and play defense that a lot of people kind of tend to forget about. And I think Chris Middleton showed his worth last year in the bubble when Giannis went down, and he kind of stepped it up a little bit and was playing some great basketball. But on the other side, you got the Miami Heat, who have been having an up and down season. A lot of COVID stuff had impacted them. Injuries have impacted them. So they haven't had a consistent roster throughout the season. And that's something to pay attention to, because in the NBA Finals last year, that was ultimately their downfall, is Bam Adebayo or as Kendrick Perkins would say, out of the bayou, was hurt, and Goran Dragic was hurt, and the Lakers had a goddamn cakewalk. I think it was a gentleman's sweep in the NBA Finals. But this year, it's looking like everybody's at least healthy right now. Tyler Hero, they got Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza they picked up, Andre Iguodala they have. I feel like I'm forgetting some names. Kendrick Nunn. Yeah, and then you ultimately got the coach, Eric Spoelstra, who's battle-tested NBA Finals champion. And so they have that another team that's grit and grind. You know what I mean? Everybody plays defense. Jimmy Butler's a dog. You see what he did in the finals against the Lakers last year. And they give the Bucks fits because they play tough defense. And a lot of times in the playoffs, Giannis, you build a wall and it's problems because he's not a shooter. This year, I feel like it's going to be different. I've been watching a lot of the Bucks games, especially when they played against the Nets, and I'm seeing a different team. I'm seeing a Giannis who he's not shooting the best from 3-point, but he's not afraid to take those shots. And if those shots are falling, it's game over. Nobody's beating them. It's game over. As far as, first round, of course. The Heat they have no chance. But you also he has more help. A Drew Holiday can give you scoring. A Chris Middleton can give you scoring. They picked up PJ Tucker for defensive purposes and stuff like that. So they have a lot of things sprinkled around that can help Giannis out. And I think that 3-point shooting is a little bit better this season, enough to actually make a difference in the playoffs. But it definitely depends on his shooting. And because of that, because it's not consistent, I'm taking the Bucks to win this series in 6 games. I got the Bucks winning, in 6 games, 4-2 against the Miami Heat.
I'm kind of going into I'm gonna say I probably got the least knowledge about this series in particular because I have not watched many. I really ain't watched that many Heat games. You know what I mean? But I know they were very inconsistent, like you said. The COVID stuff happened, but I also know they got a guy named Jimmy Butler, and I don't really like betting against Jimmy Butler because this dude's a dog, right? He wills greatness from sometimes subpar players. So just off him being in the series alone, I'm actually leaning towards the Heat. Giannis is like Paul George, man. He's a great regular season player. You know, he can even win the MVP defensive player. But in the playoffs, he does not show up like he should, bro. Right. And it's simply because, like you say, he cannot shoot the long range jumper. And it's another situation. I think Charles Barkley said it best. Can you really win if Chris Middleton is your second best player? I don't know. Like, it's not looking like Giannis is a great player, right? But it's just another one of them teams where if you can shut down Giannis or stifle him just slightly, if you can keep Giannis in the 20 to 30 point range, they probably fuck around and lose. Like if you keep it at 100, And I love Drew Holiday to death. Great fucking point guard. Love Brook Lopez.
Yes, Brook Lopez is over there too. Yep.
Yeah, man, they got some other guys. Jabari Parker has been having a pretty decent season, but
DiVincenzo, they got as well. He's a shooter.
I want to say I got the Heat in 7 though. I can definitely see them beating them. Again,
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that pick, Jack. I want to go back to real quick what Charles Barkley said about Chris Middleton being like the second best player and can you win? I agree with that, but not this season because of Drew Holiday. I think with Drew Holiday as a third guy and potentially even a second guy, depending on what the series matchup is, I think that they have the proper pieces in place to make some noise. It's a lot of ifs though. It's just a lot of ifs with the Bucks, with Giannis and his shooting, with Chris Middleton stepping up, with Drew Holiday being a consistent offensive threat if he can't take somebody out defensively, which he is capable of doing. The thing I do also worry about too with the Bucks is, for as bad as people want to say the Brooklyn Nets defense is, by a few tenths of a point, the Milwaukee Bucks actually gave up more points per game than the Brooklyn Nets this season.
Sheesh.
So yes, they both gave up 114 per game, but the Bucks were like 114.4 or 2, and the Nets were like 114 even or something like that. So it's pretty much a wash, but they gave up a lot of points per game too. Now, maybe they play a faster pace than us, yada, yada, yada. But that's all going to depend on the matchup that they have. You know what I'm saying? So I just like Drew Holiday so much that I think he's the perfect guy for that Buck squad. I actually wanted the net.
He's the X factor. He's definitely the X factor in this series.
He is. He's another guy I wanted the Nets to get when they were thinking about making that big trade. But they got James Harden, so fuck it. All right, last fucking series. Of course, we saved the best for last. Ain't that right, Jack? The best series for last.
What is last? Let me look at this. Oh, God damn it.
The best for last.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? Y'all come in here, y'all see me with my Brooklyn Nets hat, my Brooklyn Nets jersey. I got the Basquiat hoodie behind me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Basquiat. Got the hoodie behind me. But so yeah, I think, he's not gonna be unbiased about the Nets, and he's not gonna give a fair criticism of the series going forward. You goddamn right. You absolutely right. Nets in 4 against these bum ass Celtics.
Wow.
Get these dudes the fuck out of here. They ain't got a shot in hell against what we got coming forward. Listen. Nah, I'm playing. I'm playing. Nets. I got Nets in 5. I'm gonna make it real sweet and simple. Gentlemen sweep against the Boston Celtics. Listen, this is how I'm coming for this series. Boston Celtics without Jaylen Brown have no shot of advancing in the playoffs. Point blank. Period. Now, can they make a couple games interesting? Absolutely. I'm not gonna ever disrespect a guy like Jason Tatum, who is an up-and-coming superstar. Y'all just seen the other night he dropped 50 on the Washington Wizards. Now, they don't play no defense, but the Nets don't play no defense either. So it's going to be nights where Jason Tatum is going to give you 40 to 50 points against the Nets. That's going to happen because he's unguardable. I was at the Nets game against the Boston Celtics, and I'm just in the stands. Every time Jason Tatum touched the ball, I'm screaming help. Because at that game specifically, I don't think Jaylen Brown played or Kemba Walker. So he was pretty much it for them. And I'm like, help, double team Jason Tatum. And it didn't matter. He was scoring. He had like 30, almost 40 points that game. He's a bucket. He gonna get you points. But I have concerns about everybody else on the Boston Celtics. Kemba Walker is quote unquote healthy. Now, if he plays like he played against the Washington Wizards the other night, then the Boston Celtics can get a game or two with Jason Tatum playing as fantastic as he played. Marcus Smart is there. He's a great defender. He can get you some points, but he's not a consistent scorer. Tristan Thompson, not a scorer, but offensive rebounds, brings energy to the game. Peyton Pritchard off the bench, defender, bring energy to the game. They just don't have enough offensive weapons to battle a squad like the Nets. The Nets beat the Celtics 3 times this season, and none of those 3 games did we have our big 3. Now, I'm not gonna be this blind Nets fan that thinks, the Nets only played 8 games with each other as the big 3. Everything is peaches and cream, and they'll be fine. I feel like the Nets caught a huge break with getting the Boston Celtics in the first round and with the injuries that the Boston Celtics have and the inconsistency of Kemba Walker and players like that, they can use this series to help build chemistry. Now, I know James Harden has already been on record. He's going to sacrifice his offense, run the point. Kyrie, he's the shooting guard. Kevin Durant, you put him anywhere you want, he's going to fit. One of the greatest plug-and-play players in NBA history. No matter what team he goes to, he's going to fit regardless. So, but at the end of the day, it's the playoffs. Teams are going to scheme against you. I've said this hundreds of times this stream. Teams are going to scheme against you, and ultimately it's going to come down to your talent. And when it comes down to your talent, you resort back to what you know best. James Harden is a dribble, step-back shooter. He drives to the basket on pick and rolls too, and that's just who he is at the end of the day. Kyrie Irving, another dribble the air out the goddamn basketball, get to his spot and shoot. Kevin Durant, he's, like I said before, he's wherever you want to put him, he'll fit. So if there are games where Celtics are clicking defensively and they got our guys, flustered, And they're scoring. Tatum is giving you 50 points. Kemba's scoring. Our guys are having off nights. It's gonna be rare that you get all three of them to have off nights, but anything is possible. I think the Celtics can get away with 1 or 2 games. But that's about it. Maybe not even 2 games, just 1 game. I give them 1 game, gentleman's sweep, Nets in 5. And I can't wait because I have a friend who's been talking shit to me all season about the Nets, dog. I'm talking about, he's been in my DMs every day about the Nets. Every time they lose, every time it's a close game, every time Kyrie goes on a spiritual journey and wants to miss a game, every time James Harden wants to hit Magic City and miss a game, every time KD sprains his ankle when getting up off the chair, he's in my DM. So I can't wait. And he's a Boston Celtics fan, so I can't wait for this goddamn series. Kyrie is going to go absolute bonkers on these dudes. And the Celtics fans are back in the arenas. I can't fucking wait. Going to be fantastic. Nets in 5.
Again, I can't really argue that. Barring some unforeseen collapse by the Nets, I definitely don't see this going over 5 games. The Celtics just don't have the personnel to even match up with them. You know, we got Tatum, which he's a phenomenal fucking player. You know?
Beast. One of my favorite young guys.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Without Jaylen Brown, though, man, which that's their second best player, a dog, a beast. Without him, it's over with. They have no shot in hell, in my opinion. This is gonna be light work. This is somebody's fucking calling me right now. This is definitely gonna be light work for the fucking the Nets, man. I don't see them matching up too well. You know, this was just a really inconsistent bad season for the Celtics. I was actually shocked that they played this poorly this season, but I got to go in 5 games to the Nets.
Okay. And so Celtics got Evan Fournier, I think they traded for over the offseason. So, you know, he's a good 3-point shooter. He can give you some points. Robert Williams, I like a lot. He a good defense. Robert Williams brings a lot of energy. In fact, I think the Celtics should start Robert Williams just because the Nets don't really have a bona fide big man. And Robert Williams can match up really well because I think the Nets will probably start like a Blake Griffin. DeAndre Jordan, I can't stand. I hope DeAndre Jordan doesn't see a minute of play time in the playoffs. Not a single minute. But you know, they got some. What happened?
No, I said we good.
Oh, okay. So yeah, man, as long as Kyrie doesn't have any fasting or praying to do, I think we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right in the playoffs. I don't see any of these guys missing any games. Hopefully no games as far as health goes. But Nets in 5, and Nat right there.
All three are healthy.
Yes, for the first time this season in a long time.
Okay.
They all healthy. Blake Griffin is healthy. Only player that's injured for the Nets right now is Spencer Dinwiddie, and he tore his ACL, so he's not. Yeah. He ain't coming back. It's over for that. But that's it, folks. Those were our predictions. Shout out to JackMoveJohnny for pulling up. I didn't know you was gonna stay the whole thing, dog, but I definitely appreciate you for pulling up and rocking with your boy on these NFL predictions. We're gonna be back for round 2. Hopefully your Grizzlies can advance. We know that's not happening, but I will like your thoughts and opinions on how the first round went and for the second round. So to recap, we got Nets in 5. Well, I have Nets in 5, Bucks in 6. Wait, did I say 6 or 7? I got Bucks in 6. I got Knicks in 6. I have the Philadelphia 76ers in 5. I have the Los Angeles Lakers losing to the Phoenix Suns. You heard it here first. In 7 games. Portland Trailblazers, I got them beating the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Dallas Mavericks losing to the Los Angeles Clippers in 6 games. Or did I say 5? I think I said 6. If Porzingis is healthy, I got 6. If not, Dallas in 5. Utah Jazz beating the Memphis Grizzlies in 6 games. Did I say 6 for that? I don't even fucking remember.
No, you said they were going to get swept.
Yes, I said swept. My bad. Thank you. Swept. I had to think about that because I'm like, did I give Memphis 2 games? I think you gave Memphis 2 games.
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah. I confused myself. You gave Memphis 2 games. All right, so that's our predictions. The Bucks versus the Miami Heat are starting now. I want to say thank you to everybody who pulled up to the stream. This was a lot of fun. I like talking about sports. One of my biggest passions outside of gaming, might even be my number one love. I wanted to be in the NBA as a young guy. I had a little bit of game, but your boy ain't never grow over 5'8", so it's a wrap on that. NFL. We're not talking NFL right now. I'll probably do an NFL stream. I have to see. I'm an NFL guy. I don't follow too many teams like that. The Jets are trash.
They said the Titans might be getting Julio Jones, dog.
What?
Yeah, man, we need that.
They get Julio Jones. I got them winning the AFC East, low key. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for pulling up, man. This was great. Y'all go watch the NBA playoffs, and we'll catch y'all in the next stream. Jack, tell the people where they can find you at.
Hey, man, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, JackMoveJohnny. Y'all know how to get in touch with me, man.
Yes, sir.
Y'all subscribe and hit the like button, too, on J-Man stuff, man.
Yes, sir. Up, man. More content on the way, man. We doing our thing, man. Appreciate y'all for subscribing, tuning into the channel, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace. All right. Oh, that was dope. Appreciate you, dog.